Hey guys, what's up? So, like I said in the previous video about my training routine, it's a upper lower body split which I tend to repeat 2 to 3 times per week. On the lower body, what do I do? It's even more simple than the upper body routine. It's even, I think it's less exercise overall through most of the days. So the focus is pretty much on squats and Romanian deadlifts. Then I do some stuff for the calves, maybe some extra stuff for the hamstrings, and that's pretty much it. Like it's very simple training. I start with 3 sets of squat. Usually I try to keep it between 4 to 8 reps, but it can vary. It just depends on the phase that I'm in, the periodization that I'm doing. Right now, I mean, this training that I'm going to be showing here in the video, I did 3 sets of 6 with 120 kilograms. And I think that it wasn't like that close to failure. I mean, maybe a little bit, but not that much because I was able to do 3 sets through. I mean, to do 6 reps through the 3 sets. Even though, like in the last reps, I mean, my spotter, something about spotting in some exercises is good for you to have a spotter, especially like bench press or squats. I wouldn't need I spotted on the squats if there are safety bars in my gym, but they have broken like years ago and the owner never fixed them. So I kind of just feel safer if I just ask for a spotter, because otherwise if I kind of get stuck into the squat during a rep, I'll have to just throw the bar like behind me and it might break the floor. I don't know. So usually I ask for the spotter. Usually I tell them to not help me. You don't want to spotter to do the exercise with you. You don't want them to lift the weight with you. They're just there in case you're like struggling a little too much on the last rep, or they feel like you're not gonna make it on your own. They just give you a little bit of a push just so you can put the barbell into the the place where it is to put it, whatever. Just so you don't like end up like getting stuck there. So 3 sets of 6, 180, 120 kilograms a day. I'm gonna keep increasing the weight until I reach a weight which I cannot do like more. I mean, less than 4 reps. Usually, like, 'cause like I said, it's 4 to 8 reps. So right now, this wasn't like sets to failure. I'm just trying to go easy on increasing the weight, and I'm gonna be keep increasing the weight until I reach a point where I cannot do like sets of 4. Like it's just the weight's too much. Then I might use a belt. Oh, something about belt. Usually I try to not use them at all. Like I want to build my core. Doing squats without a belt is very good for you to increase your ab muscles. So a lot of people think that, oh, let's do like a superset of like 100 crunches with something else. Like squats might be better overall for your abs than doing a bunch of crunches. Like do those. I see a lot of people do this circuit base, like which they do like 3 different abs crunch exercises. Those are pretty much useless. Like just lift heavy weight and then your abs will grow. You can do like crunches with a rope, which you use weights, or you can do squats without a belt. So yeah, I do squats without a belt, unless I'm gonna pull like try to break a personal record for me, or it's just a weight that I never used it before. I might use it, but it's very like once a month. I might use a belt in the first exercise for the leg day, for my lower body day, which is the squats, but I don't do it like every just once in a while. For the second exercise, the Romanian deadlifts, I might use depending on the weight. Usually, I try to do sets of 6, and depending of the weight I'm going to be using, depending on how much intensity, because usually most of the days I'm not going to be doing to failure. I usually leave some reps in the reserve. When I started like losing some reps, when my rep schemes on RDLs, the Romanian deadlifts, are like getting close to 4, because usually I try to keep between 4 and 6. When they are like getting a little heavier, I might use the belt, but it's mainly because my lower back has already like been it's a little tired from doing the squats. So I tend to use the belt just so they can handle like the weight that I'm using, because sometimes if they are so tired by depending on usually depends on the weight that I'm doing on the squats, because my lower back is going to be a little bit tired. Usually you want to do the RDLs without using a belt. It's also good to building your core, to building your ab muscles. But for me, every once in a while, depending on the weight, because they are tired from the first exercise, I might use a belt. So usually like 3 sets, I tend to do it. After this, sometimes I do leg curls. It might be seated or laid. Like sometimes I just, because my hamstrings are not as well developed in my opinion as my quads. So sometimes I do some extra work there. So I do like 3 sets of leg curls, and then I do stuff for my calves. I do standing calf raises and seated calf raises. Usually right now, I was doing like with both my legs, the calf raises for a while, and then after I was able to just like do everything, all the whole rack on the machine, I started doing one leg at a time. Same thing with seated. I mean, seated I can put more weight, but I just prefer to doing doing one leg at a time. Usually, you want to get the stretch at the bottom, like you want to stretch the muscle as much as possible. You guys can see that my like in the squats. In the squats, my range of motion is very good. I like to do astrograph, just try to squat as much as possible, and that is good because the more range of motion you have, the less weight you have to put. Because putting too much weight at one point, it might be you might have a higher chance of injury. So I like to compensate, like not have too much chance of injury, but just by doing better range of motion. But in my RDLs range of motion is not very good lately. I feel like I need some improvements in my RDLs, but I still see some progress on my hamstrings over the last month, so everything is going okay. I think my main problem with the RDLs is that sometimes my lower back is so tired from the squats that I just cannot perform RDLs with the weight that I want to. Sometimes I have to lower. It's hard for me to progress with the RDLs than it is with squats because it's the second exercise. And maybe I should try to give more rest between doing squats and the RDLs. I don't know. I might. It's just something that I'm looking on, right at the moment. Oh yeah, for the calves, I usually do 3 sets. Usually, like I try to make between like 8 to 15 reps. I usually like to go maybe a little lighter sometimes on the calves and put more reps on there. And that's pretty much it. Usually like around 5 exercises, and it's just basic stuff. Like, some people might say, "Oh, you just do one exercise for your quads." And I'm like, yeah, but I do this like usually like 2 to 3 times per week. Sometimes I'm gonna be squatting 3 times per week. When you squat 3 times per week, like you don't really need much more, and you don't need like leg extensions, you don't need leg presses. I mean, leg press is like redundant in my opinion. You're just doing squats again, but you're doing in the machine instead of normal movement. Leg extensions are overrated. Like I did all this stuff, it's just the stuff that worked better for me. On the squats and the RDLs, I usually tend to rest between like 4 to 5 minutes. If it's close to failure, it's gonna be definitely like around 5 minutes for me to completely recover, so I can really push myself. In this day with 120 kilograms, even though it wasn't like 100% failure, I might have like 1 or 2 reps in reserve. I still felt the need to rest like 5 minutes just so I could keep the same rep during each set because I was able to do 3 sets of 6. So to be able to do 6 sets on every single rep, not lose any reps between one set to the other, I had to rest more. So if my focus right now is not much in the amount of sets that I'm doing, it's just more the overall quality, higher intensity and quality sets in which I'm doing with a very high intensity and I'm well rested in every single set. So I want to be able to do every single set with high intensity and be well rested. I need to be resting longer for that. So it's just like if it's only 5 exercises, it might seem like it's not much, but like I said, I rest a lot. So sometimes this workout can go like almost 1 hour. It usually doesn't go over an hour, but it can take longer than most people imagine because I'm resting a lot. Oh, and also something that I forgot to mention, I do a lot of warm-up sets. That goes for bench press and the squats and the RDLs. I do a lot of them. Like I start with like, I mean, the barbell is like 20 kilograms, so I start like 20 kilograms. I put like 10 kilograms on each side. So I start with like 40 kilograms, then I do a set with 40 kilograms, 60, 80, 100, 120. So I can do like 3 to 4 warm-up sets before doing the workout set. So that also takes some time. So I'm only counting here when I talk about my training. I usually don't count the warm-up set because they're just for warm-up. But yeah, training usually takes like a little less than an hour. Right now, I just feel like for me, just doing fewer exercise for my body actually it helped me more. Not only it saving me time at the gym, I feel like I'm progressing better. Just be able to progress better in those exercises, and overall my body seems to be developing more now.